Before we move to our show, let me tell you a story of perseverance and resilience. This story is about Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple Incorporation. After founding Apple in 1976, Steve was kicked out of Apple by his CEO in 1985. After being ousted from the company he co-founded, Jobs faced a critical turning point in his life. Instead of succumbing to despair, he took the opportunity to reinvent himself. He founded Next Incorporation in 1985, which was later acquired by Apple in 1997. He also invested in another company, Pixar, in 1986, which was later acquired by Disney in 2006 for $7 billion. So the moral of the story is never give up, never lose hope, stay hungry, stay foolish. Steve Jobs. This is Unicorn Show. It's all about startups. We will be discussing how to raise investment for your startups. We will bring VCs, investors who are actively investing to share their tips and tricks for fundraising. So, if you are actively raising investment, this show is for you. Like, subscribe, and share this with your network. I'm very excited to invite you to our podcast for our very special guest who is all the way from the Nordics, the land of auroras, northern lights, and Vikings. Let's dive in. How are you doing, Ellie?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm great. Thanks for coming and thanks for giving us time. How's the weather there? Sweden is going good. Stockholm is getting colder.
Well, it's definitely not as nice as Dubai, I can promise you that, but it's sunny and 15 degrees outside.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. And I hope you are getting snow very good, very soon, maybe in October, November.
Well, sometimes it comes in October, but last year the snow didn't come until January. So it was very much a gray Christmas, but it gets cold and definitely dark.
Yeah, of course. Darker and longer nights. So tell me, who is Ellie? Tell me about yourself.
Well, I'm born and raised in Stockholm. I'm half Greek, half Swedish, so I really had the opportunity to see both the continental Europe with all that that entails with passion, food, culture, and then Sweden, which is, a really incredible innovation hub in so many different domains, music, tech, industry. Um, I started my career within research. My plan was to get a doctorate within macroeconomics. I had no ambition to go into the private sector. I very much stumbled up on this amazing startup back in 2013. It was the name was Ticktail, and it was a high school friend of mine who started it. And I thought maybe I can just join it for 6 months and then go back to school. And then now, it's been 15 years later almost, or I never went back to school. I fell in love with the startup scene. And so after Ticktail, I launched our New York office and had the privilege of seeing expansion firsthand into new market. And I just stayed in different startups, always kind of in a operations and finance role. It was the best school I've ever had. Everything that had to do with expansion, SaaS, metrics, venture capital, venture debt. So I was there for 4 years and absolutely fell in love with the speed and the dynamic and kind of if you see something, do something approach. So I never went back to school. I stayed in startups, always in operations and finance and expansion kind of roles. And then for the past 3 years, I've been in the investment side instead.
Wow, that's amazing. You have already answered my next questions, how you came to venture world and how did it all started. Um, so tell me, how is it going? How is it going now in the venture world for the last 3 years you have been?
Yeah. So after my times with different startups, predominantly within life science and medtech, I very much wanted to see the other side of the pitch table, I guess. But for me, I wasn't content with sitting on a board seat and giving advice to companies, and those advice comes with a check. I really wanted to be hands-on. So I was introduced to the venture studio concept 3 years ago, and that is also what Pinecone is today. We're a venture studio and not necessarily a venture capital fund. And I'll tell you about the difference. So the landscape for the past couple of years has been really rough. Um, COVID, we saw valuations skyrocketing, and the AI kind of atmosphere we're starting to build. But say 2020, when the war broke out in Ukraine, it's been some rough couple of years. But I would say at least in Sweden, it's starting to pick up, and I think the Klarna IPO that happened last week is really the a start of a new beginning. I'm seeing a lot more optimism in the market.
Yeah, yeah, that's amazing. So tell me a little bit. You have now venture studio, and you must be investing different startups. Have you ever been to some very fun and exciting things, which was like fun deal or very excited deal you were about?
Yeah. So both with Pinecone and with my previous studio that I was working for, um, we get the opportunity to work with entrepreneurs before they've even started the company. So we go in super, super early on the ideation phase. So we really have the exploration in front of us. So entrepreneurs comes to us with an idea, but then we get to work with that founder to really find the target market that or um the like the opportunity that we think is best. And so fun deals, I love to find and talk to entrepreneurs that are trying to solve the most boring, unsexy problems. I think that's where you can make a lot of difference for a small amount of money. So I don't have a good fun deal, really.
So what is boring stuff? What's the most boring stuff you have ever done?
Such a good question. I think the most boring in terms of what other people might have think about it is we had one venture. He was trying to see if I can do this in English well. He was trying to digitalize and make it more efficient. The So when you build something like construction wise, you get a lot of gravel from the parts that you're blowing out. If you're building a road or a bridge, there's a lot of rocks and gravel that needs to be um, transferred or shipped to another place. And each of those places that needs to take that gravel into it, they need to make sure that they have the space for it, but also that they have the right permission to take that specific kind of dirt or gravel. So this guy, he was setting out to digitalize that. So me as a construction product manager could see which, um, in Swedish called deponi, which like gravel grounds have space for my 3 trucks of gravel, and can they accept this specific gravel. That is such an unsexy and boring problem, but the market is just so not digital. I think that was one of the more exciting ventures I was part of.
Oh, amazing. I was back in 2009, 10-ish, I was in Oslo, and I also see some tech-based construction startups. There were so
Yep.
many, I mean, there were not so many, but it was one or two only. But mostly were making, the other kind of apps and stuff, but nobody was making a construction app or making a
Yeah.
supply chain management for the construction industry. But you're right. There's of course, I mean, not so excited things to do. You know, it's construction is still, you know, very, I would say, backward in terms of technology or tech savviness. What are your biggest regrets in the past? Have you missed some amazing deal or something which you wish you should have been part of and you missed it just because you were thinking it's not good and a good deal, or you don't like the idea, you don't like the founders, and later on you find out they have done an amazing job? Or tell me about.
Not so much that we missed out on a deal and the founder went ahead and launched it, but more me and this incredible architect found a hole in the market for when you make the blueprints of buildings. There's a lot of regulations in Europe regarding how wide the door just needs to be, how the stair is constructed. So first for a accessibility standpoint. So we were looking at a way, how can we in the CAD program, so when you make the blueprints, how can the system tell us that the door is not wide enough or the stair is not wide enough? And unfortunately, that studio that I was working with, they didn't think it was a good idea. So we passed it off. And now there's a really, really cool company in Stockholm called AI Bob that's doing exactly that. And they raised an really impressive amount of money, and their valuation is very impressive. So that's my biggest. I wish we would have done that for 2 years ago, because now the market is ready for it, and investors are ready for it.
Of course. Of course, that's amazing. Nice to hear that. Tell me, what is Pinecone Ventures?
So Pinecone Ventures is a venture studio. So I'd like to explain the studio concept as a hybrid between an incubator and a VC fund. So Pinecone Ventures was founded in Oslo, Norway, 5 years ago by an incredible founder, and he kind of bootstrapped his first kind of ventures. And last December, he met with my coworker and co-founder Jesper. And the meeting, the point of the meeting was for Jesper to invest in the Norwegian studio, but they left the meeting saying, "Don't invest here. Start the Stockholm office." So Jesper started setting everything up in Stockholm from December, and he was looking for a co-founder. Um, and I've been employed my entire life, and I felt like now I really want to do something for that I own and can put my kind of signature on it. So I joined Jesper in early February, and we are again a venture studio, but we do it very different compared to what I think other studios are doing. So we keep our headcount extremely low. It's just me and Jesper, but instead we have surrounded ourselves with 14 incredible partners, similar to an LP. They are investing into our studio, but they're going to be working a lot more hands-on with our portfolio companies. So we co-found companies with entrepreneurs. So you come to us with an idea, maybe you have a prototype, and then we have a validation process, which is about 4 to 5 months long, where we try to validate the idea you have with the market, with potential investors, and more importantly, with potential buyers. So we're really trying to set up what is the level of success we want to reach, and how can we backtrack that. So we invest both money into these startups, and we go in with about 1 to 2 million crowns, so about 100 to 200 thousand euros. And then we have tech resources to help build the prototype. But I think the most important thing is that we become your teamwork or a team member. I like to say that we become your VP of shit, because whatever you need as a first founder or first time founder, or it's just you running it, you don't have a team yet, we do everything that you need. And then we have these incredible 14 partners that support as well. And every one of them, one of our criteria when we met with these people was that they had to start and sell a company. So they need to know what it's like to be an entrepreneur.
Amazing, amazing. So it's more like, um, angel investors combinedly kind of syndicate. We're pulling in all the money, and then you have venture studio in the front. So because I see mostly VCs, LPs are not actively participating and guiding the companies. But so it's more like angel investors, where investor is always inside the company. I mean, guiding the founders, guiding the team, and also creating some opportunities for them or making them networking. So it's kind of more like a smart money with the venture studio. So that's the best combination, I guess.
Yeah, and they're the majority of our investors are angels and or family offices. But we don't act as a syndicate, but they invest in, so our investors invest in Pinecone Ventures, and then we write a check to our portfolio companies. And our goal is to start and co-found about 3 to 5 companies per year, but we really focus more on quality versus quantity. Um, and so we have one founder that we're working with right now that I'm really excited about, and we hope we can launch that company by the end of the year. And then we have 2 more larger bets that we're hoping to launch next year, and one within medtech and the other one within infrastructure. Um, so I think what's unique with us is the way we're holding headcount down. A lot of other studios, they employ a long list of consultants, um, or employees, and that they need to support the startups, because there's so many, they have to become consultants to other like large corp to kind of get the revenue going. So I think we're unique in that way, where we keep the headcount extremely low, but then we surround ourselves with these incredible, knowledgeable, experienced entrepreneurs.
Uh, that's amazing, of course. So you have already pooled in all the funds into your fund, or you just I mean, whenever opportunity comes in, you just go to the investor and say, okay, we have got this opportunity. Who would like to take a pie of it?
So
Mhm.
we just closed the round now. Excuse me. So we're ready to start new companies. So we started raising money before the summer. Um, in Sweden, from June to August, everything shuts down. You can't
Ferie.
call or email
Yeah.
anyone. So we're just now
Sommarferie,
closing the round.
sommarferie. Yeah,
Yes, yes.
summer vacation, of
Um,
course.
but so we're ready now, and we're super excited. We're launching a UK office as well. So Pinecone London is being launched right now. We're currently looking for a CEO and
Amazing,
co-founder in that studio. So for in 6 months we've
amazing.
done a lot of things.
Wow, that's amazing, of course. Which stage? I mean, you have already told that you start very pre-ideation or ideation stage, and you just take the startup, and you create the product market fit, and you then go to the further round. So that's kind of pre-seed stage you start at. What are the check sizes? You already said it's like 200K euro and 1 million Swedish krona, I guess.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, so how long it takes from a first touch point to the final, I mean, wiring the transfer to the startup? Just asking so
yeah,
everybody, every founder who's listening to us will know all this process, like how much they can get and which stage they should contact you. So they, I mean, mostly founders don't know who to connect and how to connect and why to connect. They just start
yeah,
pitching everyone, even if
yeah.
they are not like a right person to pitch. So please.
Yeah, and I think it's important to say that we're not looking for unicorns necessarily. We see our work as the
Why not?
stable to, well, because I think we don't have the money to fund those companies to become those unicorns. I do think though that given our expertise and network, we can create a stable or a lineup of very successful companies that So we work very close with the VCs in Stockholm, and we go, hey, eventually when we start building companies, we're so new now, but the idea is that we're going to be able to go to VCs and go, look at our lineup of potential really successful companies. We can't take them to that level. We can take them from 1 to 10 million maybe in our ARR, but we need someone with deeper pockets to support them for the rest of the way. And also our entire model is to sell the company within 4 or 3 to 5 years. So we kind of want to build stable, maybe boring, I don't know, but stable, nice
Nothing
growth
is
kind of
boring.
companies. But in terms of your question regarding timing, so from when a founder reaches out to us, it takes about 5 months for us to evaluate that company. And we do have different checkpoints, and it's kind of like a funnel that goes down to an investment committee. And once you've passed, or if you get a green light from our investment committee, we'll write you a check. And that check will very much be depending on what you need as a company. How much do we need to involve our tech resources? What are the marketing initiatives? So it's not just a one size fit all kind of check, but very much what do you need in order to get here in the next 12 to 18 months. And then we become very much involved. Besides the board position, I mentioned the VP of shit, and I think that's the best title to kind of explain what we're doing. I will be your co-founder or VP of shit. I will do everything you need for the next 12 months. Um,
Wow.
I'm now stepping in where our first investment is in a really interesting packaging company in Norway. And so I'm stepping in and very much taking over the operational responsibility for the next 12 months. And that could be
And is it
doing
going to be,
PowerPoints. Hmm?
yeah. Is it going to be next Tetra Pak?
Maybe, but this is a circular um, packaging company. So the way they've built it
Okay.
is um, so you can reuse this package up to 200 times, and there's a chip in it. So
Wow.
it tracks CO2 emissions, it tracks how many times it's been used. And the target market is the closed loops logistics. So we don't go last mile yet. But click and collect flows within different retailers. It's a very interesting company, but maybe one that the average person would say that sounds so boring with packaging, but it's just, I think it's one of the most cool companies I've ever seen.
Yeah, of course, packaging is very interesting field and area. Whoever has seen returns in the packaging is a huge industry. We even
Yeah,
don't notice it because every day we are using packaging, We are getting some
yeah,
shipment, it has packaging. We are buying something, it has packaging. Packaging is huge
yeah,
market, huge industry, of course.
it really is.
But that's amazing. Yeah, of course. And Tetra Pak is one of the biggest example. And there are other also some packaging company which are like huge. So tell me about, let's talk about little bit about the founders. What are the advices you would like to give to founders through this unicorn show? What they should do and what they shouldn't do?
So really good questions. I think one of my harsh lessons in life was that the realization that I don't know everything. Um, and that doesn't make you less fit to be a founder or run an initiative. But I think the value of reaching out to people who's done the journey before, because as a startup founder, you have very limited time and money. So how can you learn from other people's mistake? Well, reach out to everyone. Um, so really build up a network. In every company I've been, I've started a network with people that are in the same industry. So when I started the New York office for Ticktail, I very quickly established a network of Swedes moving to New York just to find out, which accounting firm should I be working with? What do I need to think about in terms of taxes? How do you find an office space in Manhattan? So always try to build a network of people within the same industry that you can learn from.
Mhm. Networking is
Should I
key.
say more?
Networking is key to success, and your network is your net worth, I guess. That's the two
Yeah, yeah,
very
very true.
and
And that's how you get
and
recommendations for partners.
sure,
Oh, go
sure.
ahead.
Sure, sure. And there is like your all these VCs, all the angel investor who are also coming on board on your Pinecone ventures. They also bring a huge network of other
Yes.
investors or users or customers. And once you connect with them, that opens up so much opportunities.
Yeah.
What are the
And
areas? Sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, I think our biggest selling point to entrepreneurs is not necessarily the checks that we write, but the network and the experience. So I think it's kind of like a um,
Of course.
you can't put a price tag on that network and
Yeah,
experience. So just to reiterate what you were saying.
100%. 100%, 100%. Which kind of companies you invest in? Do you focus on some only the deep tech or only the construction companies? Just please tell me what kind of company technology you invest in.
So we're completely industry agnostic, meaning we can invest in anything, really. But we do have some criteria, and we are an impact-driven studio. And impact is very vague, but we follow the UN sustainability goals. So it's very important for the founders that approach us to say which goal are you working towards and how are you going to measure it. So it's equally important for us that a company has a financial um, growth plan, but also the impact one. And then my background is B2B, so I prefer to stay within the B2B space. But my co-founder is more of a B2C person. He's worked with some really cool B2C companies in Stockholm. So we're open-minded, but so impact, it needs to have some kind of tech component to it, although we're open to the company also to have a hardware or product component, like the packaging company that I mentioned. Um, so yeah, impact tech, preferably B2B.
Mhm. Amazing. That's great. How do you see I mean, there was recently, last year, there was taxes, different types of taxes were imposed in Norway for founders. They cannot move out of Norway.
Yeah.
Is that the reason you guys moved to Sweden, or there is some other reason?
No, not at all. I think the reason is that Norway are not quite as far advanced as Sweden are in terms of innovation, in terms of risk. Um, we see a lot of wealthy people in Norway, but they are not there yet with a high risk kind of ventures. So I think the reason behind expanding into Norway is the capital we have in terms of both VCs and investors, but also entrepreneurs. There's the startup scene in Stockholm is really out of this world. It's incredible. Um, so no, not because of the tax reasons.
Mhm. Is there similar taxes in Sweden if a
No,
company or founder wants to move exit tax?
no,
No?
not at all.
Okay. So that's a plus point for Sweden to set up in Sweden, I guess.
We have very high taxes on staff and payroll, but um, I think the Swedish government has done a good job since the 90s to really build a good space for companies to start and grow. I mean, obviously we have our fair share of problems and in terms of taxations, but I think we've really created an atmosphere and culture of risk, and that it's okay to start companies. Um,
That's
so yeah.
amazing. Um, how many companies you are planning to invest in the next 6 to 12 months?
2 to 3.
And
So our goal
you
is
you
to do.
sure,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say our goal is to do 3 to 5 companies per year. So, and given our pipe right now with some incredible ideas and prototypes, I think within the next 6 months we're going to have launched 2 to 3 companies.
Amazing, amazing. And you have mentioned about London expansion of your Pinecone ventures to London. Why expanding to London?
Well, what's incredible with the work that we've done for the past year is that we've created a very encompassing playbook on this is how our validation process looks like. These are the kind of founders we're looking for. This is how the legal governance is set up for the studio. And London feels like a next step for us in terms of expansion. And because of two things. And one, because the entrepreneurship is even more than Sweden. Um, and I think the reason for that is because of the capital. There's so much capital in London compared to Sweden and I guess Norway. And they are used to the venture space. Also, it's an English speaking market. So the companies from there, it would be a very natural expansion into, say, the US or Australia. So it has a bit of a strategic point, but so I would say the access to entrepreneurships, capital, and also the kind of natural way to go into other English speaking markets.
Mhm. How about scaling it to Silicon Valley, San Francisco, or Palo Alto, or
Yeah, I think we're looking at um, the next market for us would probably potentially be the American market, but not the West Coast. And let me explain why. The biggest venture studios come from Silicon Valley, so the competition there is a lot greater for us
is
than on
quite
the
high?
East
Mm.
Coast. And I also think, um, like uh, group wise, it's really hard to have part of the group, and I mean Pinecone group as a whole, to have part of that group being on the West Coast because that's a 9 hours difference. It's so much easier to work with the East Coast. So,
Of course.
and I haven't seen that many venture studios popping up, but there are really exciting funds that we can work closely with in New York. And also, I love New York. I lived there for 4 years. I would just love to set up a studio there.
That's amazing. That's amazing. If you have any other advice or any tips you want to give it to our viewers, please go ahead before we close and move on.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the most important thing is to just try. And I know it sounds so easy, just test your idea, just go out and do it. But I think a lot of the founders that come to us, they've been thinking about their ideas for years now. Um, and they haven't really tried it because of different reasons, financial, scared, you know, life. Um, so I think if there's anyone out there that have an idea that they can't stop thinking about, um, reach out. We would love to help you validate it. Um, and it's so nice to team up with someone that you can bounce our ideas around with. So I think just test it. Talk to people, talk to us. Um, yeah, try them out.
Yeah, amazing. I 100% agree with Ellie. If you have some idea, if you're working on something, if you want to work on something, if you have some problem or you're facing and you want to fix that problem, you have to go get out of your bed and go out of your comfort zone and go out and talk to other people. You just send an email to Ellie, or you just talk to some
Yeah.
other investor or some other VCs or funds. Just start talking and start asking them what they think about it. Maybe it's the thing or it's the idea they are looking for and they are desperately looking for, and then they will jump on you. But I'm just kidding. But maybe they will just, start helping you from there, and they will maybe connect you with someone who lead to this,
Yeah.
who make this idea to I mean, super execution. But again, idea doesn't matter. The main thing is the execution. So if you start executing things, you start going out, you start meeting clients, start meeting people, you will get to know the real problem, and you'll solve it very fastly. But if you will not move, of course, nothing will change. With that, great advice from Ellie. Thanks, Ellie, for coming on our podcast. And it was lovely talking to you. Super excited. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been great.
So, thank you, Ellie. Was it fine?
Of course.
Did I ask some stupid
Yes.
question?
No, I think it was great. I felt like I was choking up on my English a little bit, um, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was okay. So yeah, I just, I mean, this exit tax came into my mind. Just I like there was a lot of debate in exit tax, so I just thought, okay, let's ask about that also, because I think
No,
Sweden,
that's a really interesting question.
yeah, Sweden doesn't have exit tax, and it's super. I mean, nice to not have this kind of, I mean, I would say stupid or absurd taxes, which are like just killing the founders, you know.
Yeah, and I think Norway, I really don't understand what's going through their mind because they have an exit tax, they have a wealth tax, and in that wealth tax, I don't know if it's passed yet or if it's still in
Sorry.
talks, but they want.
I'm stopping the recording. So, okay. Now, I just stopped the recording, so it start processing and uploading the recording. Yeah, please continue. Yeah, wealth tax.